All right, just an injury update. George Fant. So we'll be working through basically a knee and ankle sprain. We'll kind of see how this plays out through the week and upcoming weeks. P. Ryan, he's got a high ankle sprain. So obviously that's going to be a little longer, than what Chuma has, which is a low ankle sprain. So hopefully we can get Chuma into practice this week at some point. As far as Patrick goes with the hamstring, we're still going through trying to figure out what's exactly going on. If this is just still lingering from his previous injury, we got to look at this the next couple of days, kind of see where we're at. For this week, Cashman with the hamstring, hopefully we can progress him into practice. And then Sam, same thing. We'll kind of see how the next couple of days go and then see where he's at on Wednesday and then try to make a decision as the week goes on his availability. So with that, any questions regarding the game or injury status?
To ask Coach a question, press *3. Brian from the Post, your line is active.
Adam, could you just give a little detail on the Sam decision? What exactly are the doctors looking at the next 2 days to make the decision about Wednesday and Sam's decision? Just kind of how is that decision going to play out?
Yeah, it's going to be more about where his pain tolerance is. It sounds like him throwing the ball is he feels pretty good doing that. It's just going to be more about when he gets hit, getting driven into the turf, how his shoulder's going to react to that. So we're weighing through those options and just trying to figure out what's the best thing for him.
Rich from ESPN, your line is active.
Adam, there's the school of thought that maybe just shut down Sam for a while. Let him heal totally. What would be the upside to playing him? Like, what would you want to see out of him for the remainder of the games? What is the hope from a coaching perspective to see out of him?
I'd like to see him play with our starting wide receivers. That would be probably my number one thing I'd love to see.
Ask Coach a question, press *3. Brian from the Post, your line is active.
Adam, with Herndon making a couple of nice catches yesterday, how hopeful are you that that's something he can build off of and gain some confidence here?
Yeah, really hopeful. I hated the first throw to him where he had to drop. Going back and watching the film, I'm like, man, he didn't turn his head. I thought he was trying to look it in and just, he didn't pull it in. I thought he was going to have some room to run there. But to see him make the one, on basically that crossing route over the top of the linebacker with him in his face, that was a big play in the game. And then, just the catch down the end zone, that was it's one of those throws that looks, where you feel like it's wide open in the red zone, that the windows close up quick. You're going to get hit by that safety. Joe had threw a really nice ball, kind of back shouldered it almost to keep him away from the safety. Just to see him have success on especially how hard he's been working, trying to do everything right. To see him have that, finally have some success. That was a big positive for us.
Al from Newsday, your line is active.
Yeah, Adam, with Denzel, what have you seen from him, and what impresses you most when you consider, this is a guy basically had no training camp, and, he was thrown into the fire, and he's playing pretty well.
Yeah, I hate saying this. You play the what-if game a little bit. I know you guys have asked me about that before. Would have loved to see him in an off-season, a training camp, full season with him would have looked like. I feel like he's getting better fast. He's very coachable. He's not afraid to ask questions. He tries to do things the way that you want. He makes mistakes, but he learns from them. I think he's only going to get better. He's definitely he does have some kind of a swagger about him. He has a confidence about him that where he's not afraid to go to him when it's time. It's basically nut cutting time in the game.
Greg from the Post, your line is active.
You guys have been closer late in the last few weeks. How do you kind of take that last step instead of guys getting discouraged by the end results?
I mean, it's hard just deep in the season when you haven't had a win yet, and you lose a game on a last-second field goal. You got an opportunity where at least you're in striking distance there at the end. I thought the defense did a good job of getting a 3-and-out, like in a 4-man drive, giving us plenty of time on offense. We had, we were on their side of the field, trying to take a shot to go tie it. The thing I can say about this locker room and these players, man, these guys work hard. They come to work on Wednesday. They take corrections. They try to improve from the week before, and they're trying to build that faith and trust in each other, and trying to find a way to win a game.
Andy from the Record, your line is active.
Adam, I got two things here. First, with Sam, is this a thing where he's just not going to be 100% before the end of the year? Do you guys think when you get him back, he's actually going to be basically feeling like he was before the injury? And
yeah, that's hard for me to answer. I mean, I'm going a little bit at what I'm hearing from the trainers, doctors, from him. I mean, this is not like me making the ultimate decision of like, here's what we're doing. This is the group effort and all this to try to make sure, one, we're doing right by him, as end all be all. Obviously, he wants to get back out there again. We just got to make sure that we're doing a good job communicating with each other. Trainers, doctors, front office, coaches. Sam, his agency, all that stuff. It's a full deal here.
Rich from ESPN, your line is active.
Yeah, Adam, two-part question. I'll start off with Sam, since that was the last question. You sound a little more guarded than you were on Friday when you said he's got a good shot at playing. Has anything transpired or changed your line of thinking on that?
No, well, I mean, Rich, the only thing that I can't predict is, like, I wish I could tell him, like, hey, you won't get hit, you won't get driven into the turf and land on your shoulder. I mean, I can't predict that. I don't know. It sounds like things are moving in the right direction. It sounds like he's feeling really good throwing the football. I mean, it's just that's a part of the game I can't control. And it's going to be kind of if everybody feels good about, hey, if he gets hit, he's going to be all right, then we'll be good to go. If there's any concern there, then obviously we have to look at that.
My follow-up, after the game, we asked Frank Gore about the prospect of 0-16, and he was kind of mortified to even think about that. He says this is not the way he would want to end his career if he does end his career. But yet it is a reality because of where you are right now. So I'm wondering, from a coaching perspective, does that just repulse you to even think about that, or is that just something you're like? What's your perspective on that?
I'm going to worry about this week, Rich. I'm going to control what I can control, which is what are we going to do to help our players get better this week? How are we going to make sure that we have the right game plan for Miami, and we're going to go try to win a game on Sunday. That's what I'm going to focus on.
Connor from The Athletic, your line is active.
Adam, pretty much since Mims has been put back into the lineup, we've seen him make these catches where they're 50-50 balls, maybe even the odds are stacked against him, but he still finds a way to bring him down. What does it do for an offense when you have a receiver that can kind of just make something happen when maybe logic says he shouldn't be able to?
It just creates explosive plays and makes teams start leaning to safety one way if they start worrying about them. Next thing you know, you got a one-on-one somewhere else. Helps in the run game. I mean, it shortens the series up. I mean, it does a lot for you. And then, you had Perryman's speed in there to where all of a sudden he goes over the top and runs by a bunch of guys, and you start working Crowder underneath. Get the run game going. Then it helps just kind of like give you the full gamut of what an offense could possibly be. I think we're slowly heading in the right direction on some of this stuff. I still think we're leaving some plays out there. I think we got to be more consistent on kind of our starts. Whether it's the first half or second half. I thought we started. I mean, we had a block punt, short field, 4 plays, get in the end zone, but then we just kind of fizzled out for so long and just got behind. That's not what you want to do. You want to have some consistency about what we're doing. That's where we got to get better at.
Ralph from SNY, your line is active.
Hey, Adam, back to Sam for just a second. You said a few weeks ago that you thought it was unfair to really evaluate Sam given what was happening around him with the receivers not being there and the line struggling. Assuming he's healthy and he comes back and everyone who's playing is still healthy, do you think the pieces are in place now to really get a fair evaluation of what he is and what he can do over the final 6 games?
I think that these guys, the receivers, the way that they're playing and getting better each week. It's unfortunate about P. Ryan, having an ankle. But we'll figure out a way to kind of use the guys that we can elevate and Frank and Ty. I do think there are some good pieces around him to get a good evaluation of kind of improvement. I know he's chomping at the bit to go out there and play with these wide receivers for sure. And seeing Herndon kind of get going a little bit this last game, I think that brings some excitement as well. To where, all right, hey, if we can get all those skill position guys to be involved in the passing game, and that's going to help us.
We'll take a few more for Coach Brian from the Post. Your line is active.
I just had a couple roster questions. Are you guys going to do something at kicker? You're currently carrying the 2. And the guys on IR, any of them scheduled to come back this week? Hogan or McDougald, I think, would be the ones that would be ready to come back.
Yeah, the return, the IR return guys, I have not heard anybody as far as being to where we get these guys going in practice yet. I mean, that could change obviously over the next 2 days. We'll obviously be talking through the kicker thing over the next couple of days, just kind of see where we're at on that. But I don't have any definite answers for you at the moment.
Fred from the Post, your line is active.
Adam, after looking at this film, do you have any better idea what happened with no catches by the wide receivers in the first half?
You want me to go through every play? So I'd love to right now.
Was it just the play's not getting there, not looking that way, or what kind of happened?
Well, unfortunately, Crowder probably should have had about 15 catches in those plays. It's something, we threw to Crowder on the interception, trying to go to Crowder, we get a false start, we have a 3rd and 15, we call a screen, we just felt like that was the best thing to go to. We have a drop, Chris has a drop, we're trying to go to Crowder, we have a neutral zone infraction, we're trying to go to Crowder. Ball has a chance to go to Mims, Crowder, Perryman. We don't end up getting the ball to him. Herndon has the big play. We screwed up one of the mic points. The ball should have went to Crowder. We ended up getting the ball to Ty on a 3rd down conversion. And then we wanted to go to Perryman or Crowder on one play. We ended up throwing hot. And then we wanted to go to Crowder or Barrios, and we ended up getting sacked. So that was every pass in the first half.